Hi. Welcome. Dear.
Welcome. Sit down. Take a load off. You're
your-
listening to Gameography.
This is the podcast where you take your load off and the people who make them.
You take your load off with us, Tim and Devin. That's right. You're
That
old
is
pals.
Old pals taking their loads off together. That's all this is.
Nothing weird about that.
There's nothing weird
Just
about
a bunch of people around.
Just some pals.
Just taking their loads off. Just throw it down on
What?
the floor, baby.
What, do you want me to keep it on?
Don't ever keep it on. Tim,
Take
look
it
me in
off.
the eyes. Never keep them on.
I'm looking you in the eyes right now.
That's the most Tim and I have had eye contact in the last 2 years.
You can't even speak because of this. It's just so uncomfortable.
Truly.
I'm just holding it. Devin's too afraid. Devin can't do it. Devin's chickening out.
Tim, I need to get my load off. I can't do that if you're staring me into the soul.
How else are you going to get your load off, brother?
This podcast is the audio equivalent of us staring you, dear listener, in the soul.
Yeah, which is also funny because this podcast is my load. And it's what I will be taking off. So if you haven't already guessed, this fine episode, we'll be talking about
the very first Nintendo games that Miyamoto created, Devil World, only released in Japan, only playable by the biggest hackers on the internet.
If you're not a hacker,
AKS.
you're not allowed.
And Excitebike.
No, you don't have to be a hacker to play this one.
No, you
In
just
fact,
gotta be
hackers discouraged.
You just got to be a cool guy.
If you're just like a cool motorcycle kind of guy, this is the game for you. If you're some kind of like dorky hacker dork, not the game for you.
Yeah.
This is motorcycle.
That's actually a direct quote from Miyamoto, too.
That's weird. Yeah, he did actually say exactly what I just said.
Yeah, Nintendo Power. If
Yeah.
you're a dork hacker guy, this is not the game for you.
We have another game
And
for
it's
you
like-
called Devil World.
It's like a guy in glasses, like behind like bars in the picture, and he's like, "Ah."
How's he making that sound through Nintendo Power Magazine?
That's just
Is
like
that
the
the quote?
audio equivalent of what his face is doing for our listeners.
Yeah. This is for the listeners. This is all for the listeners.
Yeah. After you've taken your load off, this is what you need. All right, we're gonna jump right in, I guess. So before we get into Devil World, actually, just a little about the Famicom and the NES. In Japan, it was released in 1983, and it didn't come into the US until 1985. So like, actually a little over 2 years later, because there was, for one thing, I think they were just trying to like get it going in Japan, but then also there was like the video game crash of 1983 in America. So like there was I think there was like some hesitation probably.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone who doesn't know what that was, so the video game crash, a handful of like really bad games came out, right? For kind of like the
my understanding
arcades
of it,
and other stuff.
My understanding of it is like it wasn't necessarily the arcades as much, but maybe the arcades as well. But like the consoles, like because you had like the Atari, ColecoVision,
that's what it was,
and all these other ones, and there was like no process for releasing games. It's just anyone could like release a game.
Oh, really?
So like what changed with the NES was that there was like the Nintendo seal of quality. Do you remember that? The like gold sticker on all the boxes and stuff.
Really?
So they were like, we're gonna like review every game before it comes out to assure it's like of like a releasable quality. Because I think what was happening was like parents and stuff who didn't know anything would just like buy a random game and it would be like absolute shit. When they brought it home.
I mentioned this last time, the High Score show. I'm going to keep on mentioning that show. This whole
I watched
show.
like the first 10 minutes of it.
Really? Did you like it?
I liked the like when they were like interviewing the Atari guy, or not the Space Invaders guy.
Yeah,
the old Japanese guy.
Yeah.
I did not like the like narrator guy.
That's the guy who voices Mario.
What?
Yeah. Is his name Charles Martinet?
I don't know.
Something like that. But
Wow.
yeah, literally the famous guy who voices all the characters in Mario. He's the narrator.
They brought shame onto that man. It's just like, I just thought it was like annoying because he's like, because they only had this much RAM. That's random access memory. If you don't know what that is, we'll tell you more about that later. Is there like something like that? It was just like, Jesus Christ, like,
yeah,
I mean, I hate like for the most part documentaries that have narrators in general.
Yeah,
unless it's like a nature documentary.
Yeah,
you know?
that can.
But if you're gonna have it, like, at least don't make it like a snarky like.
Mario guy. Why'd that guy sound
if he was
so
doing
much
the
like...
Mario voice the whole time, then it would be good. Then I would have liked it.
It does, honestly. I mean, obviously you couldn't do this, but it feels almost insulting to have that guy come in and not have him do Mario narration. Like, you could have done that.
Yeah.
The guy was there.
Yeah, maybe they got sued or something.
Actually, basically, there's an episode on the E.T. game, you know, the really famous bad one.
Isn't that the first one? Because it starts...
Is it?
Well, at least that episode starts with this guy being like, I just wanted to make a game or whatever, and it turns out I made the worst game of all time. And then it's like, but I didn't know that at the time, or something like that.
I don't think that was the first one, but I might be wrong. They might have been just like referencing it in the beginning, and then it would come back later.
It could be, yeah. Because then they didn't go back to that from what I watched. It went to like the Space Invaders.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I watched it like a month or two ago. So, but yeah, games like that ET game where they were like rushing them and they just weren't good, and then people kind of stopped caring about video games.
Yeah, I don't know if this was the exact same time, but I think, but in the 80s, like in England, I know it was like a thing of, because it was like a similar thing, like anyone could make games, and so like people just, it was like, I think they had called it, I watched like a YouTube video on it. It was like called like the generation of like basement coders or something like that. Where like, because I think it was less like America where like the like Atari and stuff was big, whereas like it's a dedicated, just like all I can do really is play games. It was more like basic computers.
Yeah.
Where like you would get like, it would actually like run the code and you could like code yourself. So you could like write a game. And I think that like they had similar issues there where it was just like anyone could just like make a game and then like sell it, and then also anyone could like basically like pirate games because all you had to do was like copy it to another floppy disk.
Yeah. That almost, to me though, that sounds like that'd be an environment where like I would assume you'd get better games and stuff and cool stuff. It'd be more
that did
like
lead,
culturally interesting.
Yeah, I think like the people who were like successful in that, like obviously continued on, and kind of like Rare is like it
really
like a company that was one of those companies like became Rare eventually.
That's awesome.
And then they made Donkey Kong Country.
Wow, Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong 64,
Banjo-Kazooie and stuff.
1984, Devil World, the most satanic game available on the home console market.
And it came out in Europe too. Maybe
until Demon's Crest came out. The other satanic game on...
What's Demon's Crest?
It's that game that we played on the Switch.
Oh,
it's like the devil game. So everyone try it on your... if you have the Switch.
Yeah, and there's that online. Super Nintendo game. Remember that one where it's like a side-scroller and you're like I think you're like a devil or something?
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can't remember the name of it.
I forgot that was on SNES.
But yes, it is directed by Shigeru Miyamoto, designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka, which is their first game together. He also is like the co-designer on Super Mario Bros.
Really? So, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's like a big partner of Miyamoto's, and he actually like sort of like took over the like 2D Mario games in a way.
Really?
He was the director of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh, really? Is that the one that's in the dream and it's really weird?
No, that's 2.
Oh, okay.
3 is like...
that one's good.
3 is the one with like the first one with an overworld and stuff. Yeah. But, he co-directed that with Miyamoto. Okay, so gotcha. So Miyamoto's still the director on that one as well. Composers, Koji Kondo.
Oh, Koji.
And Akito Nakatsuka.
Yeah, and I will be speaking more thoroughly about those two.
Okay, so let's see where to begin. It's essentially a Pac-Man-like.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were trying to like rip off Pac-Man, like a lot of other people were.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think probably how this game, like, got, I had a hard time imagining Miyamoto being like, this is like my idea for a game now.
Yeah,
I bet it was like, we need a Pac-Man type of game.
Absolutely, yeah, because Pac-Man was like the hugest game in the world at that point. Right?
Yeah.
And honestly, it reminds me a lot of Radar Scope, which that was when we were reading the last one. It's that which was kind of like ripping off the space genre or whatever, like asteroids and the other ones.
Space Invaders.
And and it was the same to me, where it's just like they took that basic formula and made it way crazier, and kind of like significantly more inventive, I'd say.
Yeah.
But while at the same time making it arguably a little bit worse.
Yeah. So I guess like the main like gameplay difference is there's like at the top of the screen is
feels like there's infinite. It's so weird.
Yeah, but like I'd say the main thing is like that or Satan, I guess.
The devil. Yeah,
the devil. Like he is at the top of the screen and he like directs these other minions to move these like bars or something. So like you can only go in like 90% of the screen because the remaining 10% is cut off by these bars and they move around. So you can't actually go like to the whole level at any time. Yeah. You're like restricted to this one area. And if you get stuck between that and like one of the walls, you get crushed.
I found that very funny. But it is also interesting. I couldn't tell if this was every level or not, but it's like it like loops essentially. Right? Yes. Where it's like if he's scrolling to the right for a long time, it'll loop back the map around you.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so
like in the same way that like Pac-Man would, I think. But it's like kind of different because it's you can never actually get to the edge of the screen. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
And then I feel like for like the main part of it, the other like big difference is, so like in Pac-Man you'd eat the power pellet and then you turn like blue or whatever, and then you can eat the ghosts. But in this you pick up a cross or eat a cross. I don't know which one you're doing, and then you can shoot fire.
Yeah.
And that and that destroys the enemies.
And also you can't pick up the pellets
until you have the cross. Yeah, I know, that's weird. Yeah. I don't know, like I didn't understand when I was playing at first because like I'm not like, is this like messed up? Like,
yeah. You know, honestly, with all of these games, it would be so much better if they just gave you a screen that told you what to do,
right?
Like like a tutorial thing.
Yeah. So I think that's another thing that's like different with these old games is also like they expected you, because I was thinking about that too, and then I remembered like, oh yeah, because they like sold them with instruction books.
That's true. Yeah.
So like actually, I couldn't find the original Devil World instructional book, but I found the when they re-released it on Wii Virtual Console.
Oh yeah,
I found that like online instruction booklet. So I like in Japanese and like looked at that, and I mean I had figured it all out by then, but it is like funny also because like and this game is just so weird. So when you shoot the enemies with fire, they turn into sunny side up eggs.
That's what they are?
That's what they are. That's literally what it is.
So weird.
And then you can eat them.
I think that was an eyeball.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Yeah. Which I think that's like what it's supposed to be representing. Because also in Japanese, how you say, they don't call it sunny side up. They call it like eye fry. Or something like, I think it's like
eye fry.
It's like fried eye. Yeah,
fried eye. Why don't we call it that? That's so great. Fried eye. Does it rhyme in Japanese like it does in English?
No, unfortunately.
Wow, that's so screwed up. Huh.
But you play as Tamagon, which I believe is like a portmanteau of tamago, which is egg. And dragon, I would guess.
Oh, okay.
Because you're like a little dragon guy. You start as an egg, and then you like hatch.
Which I actually, I kind of, I think I saw a YouTube comment that kind of brought this to my attention. But it's like Yoshi. Like I feel like the character is very clearly the predecessor to Yoshi.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
because it's like you hatch from a green egg and you're a green dragon.
And then when you eat like a certain thing, then you can shoot fireballs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's totally Yoshi.
That's crazy.
It's funny that you can see in all these games. It's like they're kind of building up ideas that they then end up using kind of over and over again.
Yeah.
Like
and
Mario
like,
and stuff.
From what I understood of like their process, it was like Miyamoto would like draw like a character.
Okay.
And then I think he would give it to like Tezuka, his like design partner, and he would actually like make the pixel art.
Oh, okay.
So like, and I think, it was similar with Yoshi. I don't think like, I know Miyamoto was like the person who was like, there should be a dinosaur like character that he rides around.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually like drew him or not, but so yeah, that's interesting because that was Miyamoto too, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that maybe I'm starting to see why Nintendo games have always been of a certain quality, and it like because I think that maybe more than anyone else at that time, you have like a crew of people who are just like building up like almost a canon of ideas.
Yeah,
and like you have this close-knit group of people working.
Yeah,
and it becomes like you're a factory almost of churning out these ideas, and it's just building upon itself in a way where at a certain point, like they just got so good at it that they were able to make games like Mario and Zelda that like, literally changed culture.
That's they like, I don't know if it's him, but I think it's him that says like that's like how they got Mario, because he was like, we took like all the experience we had made from all these other Nintendo games, like not even I think him, but also like like other programmers and stuff. That like, and he specifically says like they learned from Excitebike too. So yeah, I think that's totally true. And also I didn't realize this until we started recording, but and we'll get to it with Excitebike, but like they came out very, very close to each other. I don't know. I can't imagine. I think they were being made at the same time. Because,
oh, really?
Devil World came out in October in Japan, and then Excitebike came out in November, like the end of November.
Wow.
So like almost 2 months apart, because it was like the beginning of October and then the end of November. But that's still like crazy close.
Do you know how long it took for them to produce those?
No. So like even there's like more information about Devil World's development for some reason. Like I couldn't find anything about Excitebike. There's Excitebike 64, I guess.
What?
And I didn't read any of the interviews, but like I think I don't know if it came out or if it like they were gonna make it and it never came out or something like that, if it's one of those games. But like if you look up like Excitebike development or interview or like anything,
it's all about the 64
it's all about
one.
the 64 one. Yeah, there's like nothing about Excitebike itself.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Fun fact also, I don't think very many people know this. They made for the Wii Excite Truck. Did you ever hear about that?
I know that there's other like Excite series.
Are there more than that?
Excite, okay, here we go. Yes. Excitebike 64, its spiritual successors Excite Truck and Excitebots Trick Racing. Also for the Wii.
Excitebots.
Oh, and Excitebike World Rally. But back to Devil World for a little bit. I feel like the main thing with this game is it's just so weird. Like,
that's exactly what I wrote down too.
Like,
yeah.
Why is it all about like religious imagery?
Yeah, good question. So that for anyone who hasn't like looked up this game or whatever, you're playing as the dinosaur and you're getting the crosses, and then after you kind of get all the little balls, like in the Pac-Man style, you beat the first round and you go to the second round, which is where you have to find Bibles on the map and put them into this center
into
square.
The Devil Hall, as it's as it's described in the Japanese
Devil Hall.
Yeah.
And you essentially slay the devil. Spoiler alert.
Is that what happens?
Well, it's like he turns into a bat and flies away like he's been defeated.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then you get the bonus round.
Yeah, where you find
where
boxes,
picking up weird boxes.
Bonus boxes.
Yeah, it's like the same idea as like the bonus level in Mario Bros.
Yeah,
where you're collecting the coins.
Yeah.
So there's all that like religious imagery with like the like devil, Bibles, crosses,
shooting fire.
Yeah, shooting fire, and then there's like in the level itself, there's like that cross.
Yeah.
That's like part of the maze.
Yeah, I know.
Which is really cool.
I thought it was cool.
But then there's also just like weird random stuff, like a lot of the enemies, like they're just like they look like normal kind of like Japanese designed weird enemies. Like
actually, I think
they look kind of like Shy Guys. You know?
They do, yeah. I thought that those enemies were maybe also in a different game. I feel like there's that that one game where you're like you're digging around. I think it's an arcade game. Devin, I think that me and you have played that in an arcade once.
Dig Dug?
That might be what I'm thinking of. Dig Game Arcade. And it's like, if I'm picturing it, I feel like it has like very similar characters to this. And the enemies.
You talking about these guys?
Yeah. I think Dig Dug is what I'm thinking of.
I think those are supposed to be like dudes with like masks or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it does
the color scheme and everything, yeah, I can see that.
Also, you play as a dinosaur in this game, right? Or there is a dinosaur.
Yeah, I think you're playing the blue guy.
Was this a Nintendo game?
Probably there probably was a version for Nintendo. But yes, there is also a green dinosaur in that.
Yeah.
Came out in 1982, so the year before.
Wow.
There you go. And it's from Namco, so it's Japanese. So I'm sure they knew about it.
That's wow. I think we just caught Miyamoto red-handed
or white gloved,
like the devil.
I was gonna say like Mario, but yeah, the devil too. Is the devil Mario?
Oh my gosh. Game theory.
Here's a theory.
Yeah, I do. My first opinion of the game was that it was weird and convoluted and didn't need to exist. But after playing it for a few minutes, I actually kind of started to really like it.
Yeah, I felt like the stuff that they introduced to the game, like that they added to it from Pac-Man, I felt like kind of more often than that detracted from it.
Maybe
because I feel like I didn't really like the like moving around thing, like the stage, like the bars moving around the stage, because like I felt like it was like kind of, I don't know, I didn't like it when I got trapped between that and the wall and died. Yeah. Like that always felt cheap to me.
Yeah, because I think that it's just a little outdated in that it's the way that when it actually decides that you've been crushed is an annoying point. That kind of feels like you should have another second to escape.
That's true.
That's how I felt. But if they were to like kind of more finely tune this, it would be a really cool like retro game, I think.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is like, so this is like his first console game.
That's true, yeah.
But it really feels like he just made another arcade game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like they hadn't figured out that it should be something different.
Yeah, and you can really tell that they're just like working out the kinks of what the difference between the two.
Like, oh, you don't have to put in like coins every time, so like this isn't as interesting.
Yeah. I also thought it was funny how the music and everything about it is exactly stylized like those arcade games, where it's even like, it starts out with a classical music little piece, like a little riff of that, and then it goes into that really repetitive little bass thing or whatever.
That was like his thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a little bit of classical music. Like I was saying, like it seems like this wasn't his idea.
Yeah.
Or like really, like, I don't know. I really am curious whose idea like all the Christian stuff was.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't feel like authentic. Like I don't know, it just feels like I don't know what they were trying to do, but it just feels like they're not really like saying anything or like I don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing just feels very strangely conceived.
Yeah.
And that to me adds to the charm, but it's like ultimately it's not.
But it's not. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not that interesting. Yeah. And because of all that religious iconography, that's why it was not released in the United States, because Nintendo of America had a policy to not use anything religious in their games that they released.
That's smart. This game would not have fared well, I think. How close historically would that be to the kind of Satanic Panic era?
Honestly, yeah, probably
isn't that like exactly then.
Yeah,
like,
honestly, because that was like the 80s.
Yeah, that's like when all the metal bands were and stuff were getting in trouble, right?
Yeah.
So this would have been really not a strong move for NOA.
Yeah, especially because they like when they released the NES, they had already made all these games, so like they released them all at once. So this would have, if they would have released it, it would have been like right at the beginning when people didn't really know what it was. So yeah, that probably was a good move.
If they had released this game, that could be a sci-fi movie where we go back in time and we accidentally somehow convince Miyamoto to release it, and then we go back to the future and it's like a dystopian hellscape. That changes all of culture from the 80s on, and we live in an apocalypse now.
I bet he thought it was stupid that they didn't release it. Because it was like the American branch of Nintendo are the ones who like made that decision.
Yeah, actually, that probably. I mean, it might.
It's his only game, according to Wikipedia, that didn't get released.
That's interesting
in America.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what a Japanese person would think of that decision, but I can't. I have to assume that they must have seen how deeply smart that choice was.
I guess, yeah, but I mean. At the same time, it's like I have a hard time imagining someone looking at this and it's like so like cartoony and thinking it's like actually like evil.
I think you're underestimating Christians in the 80s.
So Excitebike in Japan came out in 1984 November, and then a year later in October of 1985 in the USA because that's the month that the NES came out.
Okay.
October of 1985.
Wow. Okay.
And they, at least in like New York or something, like I think they didn't go like nationwide at first. And I know the first place they started was New York. And also this is not related to Excitebike really, but like when they released originally, because they were worried about like that like the whole like thought about video games and how, like that it was like kind of over.
Yeah.
That was like a fad that was over, essentially. They marketed it more as like a toy than a video, than like a computer. So that's why like in Japan, it was the family computer.
Yeah.
They're like, don't use the word computer. Like call it like something else. So they came up with like entertainment system.
That's fascinating.
And like they didn't, I think in Japan, like a big accessory was like a keyboard and stuff. So you could like use it more like a computer in a way.
Oh yeah.
But what they packaged with it in America was the light gun for Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
And Rob the robot.
Oh really? Wait, they like packaged that was
that was like the set, which is crazy. I know. I think that must not have lasted long because there's way more NESs than Robs, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like,
oh man.
But yeah, just like, and when you look at like ads for it and stuff, it's like they really like focus on like the light gun and stuff.
Yeah.
Which
because that is
really cool.
It's by far the flashiest thing, and it's honestly remarkable as far as I know how well it works.
Yeah.
Where it's like that shouldn't actually work at all, honestly, for the 80s.
Did you have one ever?
No. No, I never even had a NES.
Yeah. I had a NES. I've had a couple actually in my life. It's like we had one when I was a kid, and we had the light gun, and with like Duck Hunt, and then at some point like we got rid of that. I think it like broke maybe, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's also like a couple different versions. There's the top loader, which I think is a later version, and then there's like the one where you flip open the little thing and stick it in this way.
Oh,
like
really?
Stick it in from the front. Yeah. That's
the game?
Yeah, the game.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the gun.
No.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the main one.
Yeah. Well, didn't they?
Those ones broke easier because like you stick it in and then you have to like push it down.
Oh.
So
wait, so the ones that the top loaders broke easier?
No, the ones that you have to like stick it in the front.
Oh, okay.
I think that's why like the Super Nintendo and the N64 are both from the top.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
because it was like a lot easier to just do that.
Also, I don't know where I heard this, but I know that they, with the redesign that you're talking about, a big part of it was that people all over the world were using it as like a coaster And they purposely designed it, I think, to make it so people wouldn't do that, because people kept on spilling drinks on it and ruining the system.
That's great.
Which is it's so funny.
Yeah. All right, so Excitebike.
I like this game.
Yeah, I like it. Directed, produced, and designed by Miyamoto. Programmed by Toshihiko Nakago and music by Akito Nakatsuka. So no Koji Kondo this time.
Yeah. And actually, I'll take this moment to talk about the music, because to all the composers that Nintendo used at this time are all very fascinating to me, and they're all genuinely musical heroes of mine. And so I haven't looked into the timeline perfectly, but I believe that at the very beginning, Tanaka, Hip Tanaka, was like the guy that they hired first, and then after that they hired Koji Kondo and Akito. What was his full name? Akito Nakatsuka, and I think they called him Katsuka or Tsuka or something as a nickname.
Yeah.
Anyways, those are the three composers that were around the most, I think, during all these early important years. And we talked a little bit about Hip Tanaka last time. What a guy. But then,
if you're not hip to hip,
then man, take a dip. After him, though, is when Koji Kondo enters the scene, who is, I believe, one of the most important composers of this century, and I don't say that lightly. He wrote all the most famous songs for Mario, Zelda, and then I'm pretty sure aren't like 100 other
a million other things. Yeah.
Like there, if you've heard a lot of video game music, you've heard countless examples of his work, and they're just so good. Like he is so good at what he does. Anyways, I think that, which one is it? Devil World was the first one that he worked on.
Oh, really?
At Nintendo, or maybe like the second, but it was like definitely the first. I believe that he worked on one of the last arcade games in a very minor role, and this was the first console game that he worked on, and also the one. And he split the composition with Akito, who is the third person, you know. Koji Kondo was a college student before starting work on this game, and he actually found the job listing for Nintendo at his school and applied for that job and that job only, because he said, I love synthesizers and I love video games, so it just felt like the right place for me to go.
That's that's amazing. Wait, so was it like he graduated, or was it like he like dropped out of school to like work there?
I'm actually not sure, but I think he graduated.
Yeah.
I think it was kosher through the school and everything.
Yeah.
And I think I read on the Wikipedia, it said briefly that he didn't use any demos or anything to get a job as a composer, which is
how does that work? They just like show me that synthesizer, I'll show you what I can do. That's crazy.
But yeah, so here marks the beginning of Koji Kondo's illustrious career. We'll get definitely more into him for the Mario and Zelda episodes, because
he's like one of the most important parts for sure.
Yeah. And then Akito Nakatsuka, he definitely is like, I think the least well known of the three of these people. His nickname is Tsuka-san. And he did a few important games. He did Devil World, Excitebike, Clue Land, which is another one that we're just not going to talk about.
Ice Climber. Yeah,
Ice Climber. And most importantly to me is he did the soundtrack, or at least most of it, for Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, which... that's one of the best Zelda soundtracks for me. I think that's the true hidden gem of the Zelda music.
I mean, yeah, definitely hidden.
That one song that's in Smash, the like
the temple theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that. That might be the single highlight of all the music on the NES for me.
Yeah. Oh, and he did a Punch Out too, Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that maybe that was his first one, or that was Koji's first one or something.
That's quite a bit later. That's 1987.
Oh. Wasn't that an arcade game though?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just for the NES, but I could be
wrong.
I
read that it was an arcade game earlier today.
It's an adaptation of the Punch Out and Super Punch Out arcade games.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think that maybe Aikido worked on the arcade Punch-Out, and that was like one of his first big jobs. I don't know if you can tell how uncertain I am about all these timeline details.
No, Koji Kondo is the producer. On Punch-Out, the arcade game. Also, artists Shigeru Miyamoto on Punch-Out. Didn't know that. He's everywhere.
What are we doing?
I mean, he didn't like design it or anything, but wow. And that was 1983 as well.
Wow.
So people are just cranking out games. So you play as like an Evel Knievel looking guy. Yeah. Basically, you're on a motorbike. You're on a course, going from left to right. Basically, all you can do is accelerate.
Yeah.
And
well, actually, you can accelerate and you can super accelerate.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
I didn't realize that until 20 minutes in, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
The second button.
And then you can tilt you can like move up and down on the course. And you can also tilt your bike forward and backwards. Yeah. Like when you're in the air doing jumps.
Yeah. And you can do wheelies. You can tilt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't try to do a front where you put your back up. Can you do that? Or when you're stopping?
I don't know.
There's no brake.
No. Well, so in the instruction manual, it says braking is just not holding the accelerator down. It definitely does not feel like you're braking. It just feels like you're slowing down.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. You just go and then trying to avoid obstacles and like hit jumps and stuff because it'll make you go faster. And you're just trying to go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
As Sonic would.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to go
people
fast.
Don't realize that Miyamoto is actually the first one who says you have to go fast.
You know Sonic's famous catchphrase? You have to go fast. You have to.
Have to go fast.
When you're playing as Sonic in Smash Bros, you do his taunt. He says, you have to go fast.
That's why everyone was like, man, he's so cool. He says have to. Mario's lame. So I was kind of impressed by the crowd in the background is like very abstract. It's just like squares essentially, like kind of like undulating squares of like light. But then there's also like a few characters in the background. There's like a guy with like a camera, like a video camera, like he's like, like broadcasting it to TV or something. And there's like a couple other characters that I noticed that were kind of cool.
I didn't notice any of that actually.
Yeah.
I was so focused on my need for speed.
So there's like two modes. There's one where it's just time trial, you're by yourself, and then there's another mode where you have like seemingly infinite other bike riders. Like,
oh really?
Did you not play that? Game mode B?
No.
Oh yeah, that's what game mode B is like.
Oh my gosh.
It's like and if they hit you, or so it's if they hit you from behind, it's one or the other. It's if they hit you from behind, like they like burn out or they cause you to like fall off your bike, which is like the worst thing that can happen in the game because it slows you down so much.
Takes so long to get back on that bike.
Apparently, I was reading in the instruction booklet after I played, so it didn't help me. But like if you like after you fall off, you want to like just like hit A repeatedly, and that'll make you go faster.
Yeah, I realized.
I never figured that out. I just waited for him to get back on.
Yeah, like 10 seconds. I did that for a little while, and then I started pressing A, and I realized it was way better.
So that mode, you definitely would not think of this just playing the way that you played, but like if you play the mode with like the other bike riders, it definitely seems like it's like the forerunner to like Mario Kart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like same thing as Mario Kart, where like if you like hit another like player, then they like spin out, or you can like do attacks to them. There's no attacks, but like it's the same kind of thing. Like you can mess with the other people.
I actually had that thought that like this that was clearly like conceptually related to Mario Kart.
Yeah, and it's like the same
even in a single player.
Like very basic. Like even today, Mario Kart is still just like button to go.
Yeah.
Like button to like shoot stuff, and that's like pretty much it. And like or like use item.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you also mess with the level editor, the design field?
What?
Did you play the?
I played like 30 to 40 minutes of just racing on tracks.
Are you sure you didn't play like versus or something? I don't know. So there's like in the main menu, there's game A and game B, and then design.
I don't remember that, but I might have just skipped past it and never gone back to see it.
So if you go down to that, then it's like, there's, I'll have to describe this for you since you didn't do it. It's like a blank track, and you have like the guy on the bike is like your cursor of where you are, and then there's the alphabet at the bottom of the screen, A through Z, and you can scroll through from A to Z, and each of those have like a different one of the obstacles. So like the like rough dirt, like a jump. There's all these different things, and in here you can see in the instruction book, like it has what like the key for what they all are.
Oh wow!
So like A is like a little bump, B is a bigger bump, C is the biggest bump, and then there's like it goes on from there. So you can like design your own course, and then play it, and you can also save it to like play later.
That's insane that they put that on.
Truly insane.
The first few years of having console games, they already made Mario Maker.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought of. Like, this is like my Excitebike Maker.
Wow.
It's like I feel like the only reason they probably didn't continue doing that is because like, unlike with Mario Maker now, where like you can share your levels online, it's like there would be no way to like, unless it was like come to my house.
Yeah, which that alone I feel like would probably brought a lot of people a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like if we were 80s teens, I could totally see me trying to make some crazy Excitebike track and inviting you over. Like, you're never gonna beat my Excitebike Maker track.
But yeah, that seemed like really advanced and like cool that just exists.
Like, for sure. That's very surprising.
But yeah, it's interesting because like you don't really, I can't think of anything that's like that in any of other Miyamoto's games necessarily.
And
I feel like there's like it is different, but I feel like a fact that is said a lot is that like Zelda is the first game to have like a save system.
Oh, really?
But like, and it is like different, obviously, because it's not like you're like saving where you are in the game. But like, you can totally make levels and save it.
So, that's interesting. That I feel like that should be way more talked about.
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's like nothing on. I mean, it's mentioned on the Wikipedia page, but there's like, again, there's nothing I could find anywhere about like the making of this game. It's just
so weird,
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I only have ever vaguely known about it just from seeing, in the old Smash games, and then the time that I played Excite Truck. Maybe. I mean, was this game popular when it came out?
I think so. Yeah.
'Cause I feel like it should be way more of like a franchise, or at least like a historical game.
Yeah, it's at least in America, because of that like video game crash, and just like video games were not taken seriously as like anything as like a business or like art or anything.
Yeah, just as anything.
Yeah, like that stuff wasn't really like reported. Like there's, if you go down to the reception area on Wikipedia, like there's nothing from the time, and there's like no indication, but they like remade it a lot, and like obviously like they made that versus Excitebike game, and then there's like other like ports and stuff. So
and I think clearly it ended up on all the different virtual NES consoles throughout.
So clearly I think and it's one of like the release, like when the NES was released, it was one of the games you could get. So I think it was probably pretty popular. I mean, like at the release of it, you could get Excitebike and like Mario and like golf and those games. So like I feel like if you had the choice, not that those games are bad, but like they're surprisingly like they're like the original Wii Sports.
Well, I feel like Nintendo weirdly has this history of making all these games that at different points that don't have any characters that are memorable, like Excitebike or like that, or Wii Sports. Although Wii Sports kind of became its own thing and is like pretty famous for that. But it's like, and a lot of these games just didn't get remembered, I think, because you don't have any characters like Mario or whatever, even though Excitebike is really fun.
Yeah, that's true.
And then all the multitude of sport games that kind of didn't catch on until you made it Mario, whatever.
Mario Golf, So I think in conclusion, just these couple of games obviously feel more like arcade games and just rooted in that old style of game making, and Miyamoto hadn't really figured out how to make a true transition to the console, and that's I think what we're going to see with our next game.
Oh yeah, it's a me.
Okay, I had to think about that.
What does Mario say? Oh yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh yeah. So if you want to stay updated with us, Tim and Devin at Gameography, the podcast, you can check us out on twitter.com at Gameography Pod. Is that what we did?
Gameography Pod. At Gameography Pod.
At Gameography Pod. We just made that a few seconds ago. And that is at GameographyPod. Gameography Pod.
You would not make it as like a disc jockey.
That's fair. That is true.
But you're listening to KXKL.
All right.
All right. Well, see you next time.